Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is P.S.A. number 7. First channel issues, news. The snooze review that was going to be tonight is being pushed to tomorrow. I have some things here that I need to deal with. I do not have the time. All right. It is also being pushed to tomorrow because tomorrow is now open because the nasal snuff has not arrived yet. So tomorrow's snooze review will be of this. It is a collaboration between Snoopy and the Ministry of Snuffs. It is a white strong portion bourbon vanilla. I do apologize for the delay in that review. However, there are some pressing issues that I need to attend to. So this is a PSA. PSA, so it does not overrun the channel, because I see myself possibly doing this almost as a vlog in the coming days and weeks, will no longer be listed, so it does not fill up my upload thread. They will be unlisted and go directly into the PSA public service announcement playlist. When I upload one, I will leave PSA, whatever number it is, as a post on the community page, so people know it is there. As for the channel in general, I have quite a number of weeks of products still here, but I have a feeling there may be disruption with mail service. Also, I am a little suspicious of the mail at this time. So I'm going to continue with reviews and whatnot, and as normal, with the exception of the PSAs coming more often, just because, in a way, I almost feel that continuing on as if nothing's different with tobacco reviews is a tad crass, to tell you the truth. But at the same time, I realize that possibly in the coming weeks, any semblance of normalcy, even if it is a YouTube video, may be greatly appreciated by the subscribers. So I will continue as long as product allows. Now for the PSA. So today the president held a news briefing in the Rose Garden. Almost everyone will be aware of that. National state of emergency was declared. This does free up funding, about 48 to 50 billion dollars, and puts FEMA into full deployment. There are going to be quite a number of people that are like, oh, this is all overblown. The way they're acting is exaggerated. The way they're acting is exaggerated. That said, because the reaction is exaggerated, the action that caused that reaction is not by default exaggerated itself. All right. The people that are taking drastic measures right now and acting like this is a huge problem, that are acting exaggerated, they're doing that because in all likelihood they have better and more real numbers than we do. So a state, let's say Maryland, the governor declared a state of emergency today. Some in Maryland, especially in western rural parts of Maryland, may be like, oh, this is all overblown. It's not going to be that bad. Well, the guy that declared the state of emergency probably has a better idea of what the actual infection and death rates are. The virus is the action. Government response is the reaction. Just because the reaction is exaggerated doesn't mean the action that caused it is exaggerated. About 3 or 4 hours ago, my county's emergency automated phone service went into action, was deployed, the system became live, and we began receiving phone calls. This is part of the reason why the Snooze Review is put to tomorrow night. I have to source a number of things this evening before stores in my county all close down. Food and pharmacies will stay open, but at this point, panic buying is happening in the Northeast Corridor, and I'm not overly hopeful on the food aspect, but I would like to bring in more pipe tobacco, which is, I'm afraid to say, a large part of why there is a switch up of videos this evening. I'm going to be brutally honest here, and I do not say this lightly, and I pray to God that I am wrong. That said, I have been watching current events for quite a number of decades now, and I am usually not wrong. So do keep that in mind. Another thing is, I usually do not open my mouth if I think that I will be wrong. That all said, Americans at this time, you should mentally prepare yourself for a prolonged mass casualty event. I'll let that sink in for a second. I'm being dead serious. I am not exaggerating. I do not believe that I am exaggerating. There are reasons why I say this, quite a number. One, the foremost reason I am saying this is, it is, as with all of this, a matter of numbers. This is a addition, subtraction, general mathematics. All right. In this country, depending whose version you want to go by, whose numbers you want to go by, we have between 42 and 45 million senior citizens. Okay. Mind you, the country is at about approaching 325 million people. 42 to 45 million of those people are senior citizens. Most of those senior citizens, if not all of them, would be considered to have underlying health issues. Every single one of those 45 million, let's just call it 45 for the sake of it, it's a little bit more round. Every single one of them at this time, in my mind, is in danger. In metropolitan areas, urban, suburban areas, extreme danger. So, this is why, as I said, 45 million senior citizens, most if not all, have underlying health issues, which senior citizens are the endangered group in this fiasco, and those with underlying health conditions doubly so. What is happening to them is that the illness takes hold and quickly turns into pneumonia. Lungs start filling up, breathing becomes difficult. Most of the cases in, let's say, Italy, which is getting absolutely rocked in the north around Milan, most of the cases that develop pneumonia and breathing difficulties in elderly will need respirators. And this is where it becomes just a matter of simple math. 45 million senior citizens. 150,000 respirators. Both numbers are the total counts in the United States. There are supposedly, it would make sense if there were, so I'm going to take it as a truth, 9,000 additional respirators in a strategic stockpile. That puts us to 159,000 respirators. All right. I heard news outlets, ones that I trust, refer to 60,000 respirators with an additional 9 in the strategic stockpile. That would put it to 169,000 respirators. So that's fine. I will believe the news outlet and the person saying it about the 60, and I will believe the government when they say there's 9. 169,000 respirators in a general population of 325 million, with 45 million at risk of needing a respirator. That's not good odds at all. All right. So I believe that the infection rates are known. The community spread infection rates are known at almost all levels of government. And that is what is causing the exaggerated responses. The emergency automated phone call system in my county today, now I am in a very populous county, was activated when our one case became 6 cases. And some number of the extra 5 were not tied to the original 1. You have a population of over almost like 500,000. Yeah, well, yeah, but I don't know the infection rate. They do. Now, it is interesting to note what the Ohio state government said yesterday, and I did post this in the community page. Whether they slipped or whether somebody told them to from higher up on the food chain is not clear. But basically, the head of the state of Ohio's health department, with the governor off to her side, stated during a press conference on camera, you can watch it, that the state of Ohio believed at that time that there were upwards of 100,000 cases already in the state of Ohio. The way they actually said it was that 1% of Ohio's population was infected already, but asymptomatic, so they weren't showing signs. Basically, what that breaks down to is actually more than 100,000. Due to the population of Ohio, 1%, I believe, actually breaks down to 117,000 people. But they don't know, because there's been such a botching of the testing kits. So now, the government from the Rose Garden today is telling you everything's fine. We got this. It's all under control. There's no reason to worry. While they're literally telling you that they're going to have drive-through testing sites in the parking lot of Walmart. During a press conference like this, 2 things are happening, and they don't go together. There's what they are trying to convey to you feeling-wise, that everything is fine. You're going to be okay. There's no reason to panic. But then there's also what they're actually saying, what's actually coming out of their mouths. That there's going to be drive-up testing sites in the parking lots of Walmarts, so you don't have to get out of your car. Why would they do that? To speed it up? Well, yeah, it would be to speed it up, and it would also be so you don't walk with whatever disease you have into a crowded room of a hospital. See, they'd like to keep you in your car because you're somewhat contained when you're in it. So, again, I'm going to state that you may want to mentally prepare. You want to continue with hand washing. If you have masks, you want to wear them. You want to do anything you can to cut down risk to yourself, your family, and especially older members of your family. Look at it as asset protection, and your family is your asset. You must now go Rambo on the asset protection front. And I am not suggesting this lightly. People that may give you grief about masks. Now, if you are in some, rural area, then use your own judgment. But if you are in a suburban, urban setting, metropolitan area, don't listen to anybody that gives you grief about wearing a mask. Okay? Because the only reason they're most likely not wearing one was because they couldn't find any. All right? You want to be disinfecting door handles, any high traffic hand areas. You want to limit contact with other people. If someone in your family becomes ill, that person should be quarantined in a separate room. When you enter that room, they should at least be wearing masks. You're going to have to attack this. This is a battle. This is almost a war. The enemy cannot be seen, per se, but it is nothing short of a full-out battle. And you're going to have to take all precautions. Those that decide, oh, well, no, this is silly. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not, gloves. Hey. And when we're sitting here, a month from now with some ungodly death toll and somebody in your family, I can only suggest. I can't come and make you. But I'm taking this serious. In fact, I felt somewhat ill, nauseated all day long. All right? You want to take any and all precautions. I don't know what I can say to convince people that are at this point in a state of denial. And there's a lot of them. There's two opposite ends of this. There is the people that are sort of in denial. This isn't really happening. This is like swine flu in 2009. It's nothing. And then there's the other side, which are buying all the toilet paper and hiding in their basement. No middle ground. It's like, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a big problem. There's a problem of the magnitude that you want to mentally prepare now. Okay? Because I am pretty rock steady when it comes to crisis. And I'm not going to say that this has shook me up a little bit, but I am viewing this very grimly, to say the least. All right? For those that are younger and don't really remember a catastrophe of any sort, I basically can play back minute by minute to the minute 9/11 that morning. Now, I'm not trying to say insert myself into it. I was not anywhere close or directly involved by any means. But I can remember how things went down. And I can remember the uncertainty. And not knowing, because initially that day we thought that was the first wave of something larger and unknown. I can remember standing at my work watching National Guard units go down in convoy to take up positions on the riverfront. calling around people in Philadelphia to make sure they were in basements type stuff. So take it or leave it, my advice, but if you leave it, that is at your own risk. I am not taking risks at all. And I am going to go now. There will probably be another one of these within the next 24 or 48 hours tops. It will not show up on the upload feed. It will go right to the playlist, but I will write on the community page P.S.A. 8. This being 7. And that is that. I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves, families, those around you. God bless you all. God bless America. All right? Take care.